to represent like sort of the Zionists, and then we talk about the lefties. Some people call them the Nukhba left, but like we just use it in a tongue-in-cheek way. He doesn't actually mean Kahana supporters, right, Ryan? You just mean like the pro-Israel propagandists.
Well, when I refer to Kahani supporters, and I live in a community with many supporters of Mayor Kahani,
they are. Do they call him Kahani?
Please let me finish, Buttercup. You know I'm your biggest fan on Clubhouse. I live in a community with many supporters of Mayor Kahani who have their children read They Must Go as their first book.
What?
I'm about to land my plane. Please let me finish. I'm about to land my plane. I also live among woke, leftist, self-hating Jews that want all Jews to leave Israel and give it to Palestinians. So I live among both communities, and I love hearing the two communities debate. And that's the reason I come in your room. And I implore you, Buttercup, kick the retards out of the room and invite smart people on stage. And I'm fucking done speaking.
Thank you, Lion. I'll take it.
Can I just point something out? It's really weird that
he went to audience.
Half self-hating Jew, and you all are and like acting like this is your country. You don't live here. You don't. This involves you in many different ways, but you don't live here. So respectfully, calm down.
Yeah, I think this is just sort of we're having sort of an identity crisis and a crisis of like. Just in general as Jews, like we don't really know what it means because we don't have the luxury of being Jews just by virtue of being Israeli. Like we have to engage with it in some way philosophically and be really neurotic and be hyper-vigilant about anti-Semitism or some shit. Like we don't really know how to be Jews. And so a lot of the foundations, what they said meant to be a Jew in America and the diaspora and the things we engage with to make ourselves feel like we're an ethnic group and a sense of peoplehood, all of those things they're sort of like, there's a lot of hypocrisy because then when there's an actual what I consider to be a genocide and things actually do those warning signs they warned us about are happening in Gaza in our names, they're telling us to close our eyes, and the Holocaust museums and the ADL and the institutions are saying no, this is something else, and we must never compare, you know. So I think it's just sort of
Buttercup, you said you don't have the luxury of being Jewish just by the sake of being Israeli. I don't have the luxury of being Jewish without being complicit in occupation, genocide, and oppression. You have that advantage.
We do, and I should appreciate it more. That I don't live in a war zone, and I think you speak from a perspective that's like super valuable, and I'm really glad to have it.
It's not about me. It's this is really a luxury that you have, and that you have an obligation to exploit to protect the Jewish people, right? Because this is indeed. There's no line. Look, a year ago, I was seriously considering leaving here. Now I'm terrified of leaving, and because people are not going to come up to me and say, "I heard you're an Israeli. Where do you stand politically?" There's a lot of hate for Jews and for Israelis, and more, and nobody is blaming that hate as much as Zionism and literally the state of Israel. Every narrative that it throws out there. It doesn't help that they've recently started pushing Islamophobia. And you guys in the diaspora are like literally, you can save the reputation of the Jewish people. I'm trying as much as I can, but I'm more focused on stopping the genocide. But you can have the luxury of protecting the Jewish people. I need to stop the genocide. 80% stop the genocide, 20% save the reputation of Jewish people. For you guys, it might be the other way around.
Well put. Because they're different wars, for sure. So I don't know if we can deliver on a Kahani supporter. And what did he say? What do you call us? A lefty... self-hating Jew. I don't know if we can find one of those.
Lefty self-hating Jew.
But we can try. We'll try to represent all the sides.
Did you just snort?
Just to be clear, I'm not a lefty. I'm proud anti-Zionist.
Yeah. And I'm not a self-hating Jew.
Did you just snort?
I love Jews. Yeah, because he called it... I love the typecasting over here. Hey, shapeshifter, how are you? we're having conversation about when it's okay to compare things to the Holocaust or weaponize the Holocaust and when it's not okay.
Okay, so we've heard the slurp, we've heard the snort, we've heard the burp. All we need to hear is the farts.
Oh no.
I'm just waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Those are really cute, by the way.
Did you read the Daniel? Did you read the article?
I'm about to start. I actually had to do just something.
Oh, okay. Let me know when
Do you know that there an article that came out by Amos Goldberg and Daniel Blattman, I think it's like end of 2024, and the opening line was, it might not be Auschwitz, but it's crime of the same family, the crime of genocide. Sorry, Gaza might not look like Auschwitz, but it's a crime of the same family, the family of genocide. And they go on to explain it. But
can you post in the chat? Or I can look for
sure I can find it. It was in Amos, Amos Goldberg.
The particular rule to be universally applied or not, because there are a lot of things that, in my opinion, are descriptive, but the church calls them prescriptive, and vice versa. So I think it all depends on what you want to do with that verse that you call it.
Tell you, as much as I love our veterans, I get PTSD every time I go. And I went there with them this morning for breakfast. And that kind of drug me down.
Yeah, I stayed up too late last night. Shit.
Sorry. I found it. It's called, I'm going to put it in the chat. And that's the real, like, no two genocides look the same. That's not the point, you know? You can acknowledge that no two genocides look the same and acknowledge that there's different factors and still see the Holocaust as instructive and useful to prevent and a warning about that.
Igor did a great job, by the way, by positing that. Like, he showed the uniqueness of it. At the same time, like, he showed how reductionist one can be.
Yeah.
Approach. I think he posited really well.
And that's why I wanted to hear more from him, because like his people experienced genocide too. Igor, can you come back up? Because I think we're talking about yeah.
Hello.
Your opinion was really valid. I wanted to zoom out and compare it to other people experience it and their sensitivities about the comparison. Like, how do you see the death of your relatives as useful for or how do you make it meaningful? I don't know. I'm curious to what extent people are willing.
My position, that's why I was against all the crimes that we did in 90s, right? So I don't think that the justification of my people suffering justify killing others. So I don't have a problem with the war per se, army against army, but like the civilians, women, kids, I'm against that. But like I said, I actually have a problem when we starting comparing some like very horrible crimes like the Holocaust with some other genocide because we watered down, right? And I believe there is like, we can't compare a genocide in Srebrenica with the Holocaust. Even, it's a genocide, it's horrible, but I think it's unfair, So if you're trying to be intellectually honest, I'm kind of against that, like I said. And I lay out my reasons why I don't think it's positive. And also, I don't think it's like, if you was calling something Holocaust, how to say this in English, I believe that you kind of pushing a lot of people outside of the point you want to make it, right?
Igor, can I say something?
Yeah, after.
No, it's fine. I'm a little bit trembling because I'm trying to translate in English, so I apologize.
Okay, go ahead.
But like if you, go on.
For a long time, I had a lot of reservation referring a lot of people started to use the word Holocaust in reference to Gaza, and I didn't like it, and I was against it, and it made me feel uncomfortable. And there was a single explanation that I always gave, that the Holocaust industrialized death, and I, as much as Gaza was a genocide, there was no industrialization. That is until they started doing the General's Plan and the Gaza Humanitarian Fund and those death traps. That was engineered. Somebody sat down, somebody wrote a plan, somebody executed the plan. That to me was the benchmark. Once you industrialize the murder, once you industrialize and the GHF, for example, exploited people's basic needs for food in order to exterminate them and gun them down like fish in a barrel. That was a full-on industrialization of murder.
Yeah.
And that's when I started using the word.
I understand your point, but for example, you will not call the Holocaust of the Serbs in Croatia.
I don't know enough about it.
So let him speak.
Yeah, let me tell you. So basically, you had a plan from the Nazi Croatians who wanted to 1/3 of Serbs to be killed, 1/3 to be ethnically cleansed, and 1/3 to change their religion in Catholicism. So the name was, the plan was from the Budak. So that's better. I don't want to go to details.
Will the moderators allow me to engage? Because I know Serbia.
Let me finish. Let me finish.
Yes, wait your turn.
Yeah, so point I'm making, after World War II, we collectively agreed that Holocaust is a Jewish suffering, right? And I think should be left. I don't mind that we can call different names like genocide, ethnic cleansing, whatever the legal term we want to use it, right? But I think it's reductive, who said, Narges said,
yeah.
Right? That we using a broad brush on every crime. And what you described happened in other genocide, right? But we still don't have that hate that Nazi had toward the Jews, right?
Okay.
That's why I'm making the distinction. Okay, sorry.
So I want to make a point. So I think Emrose and I are coming from, and Israelis and Jews. Sorry, we don't see it through the Serbian genocide. We see it through our own genocide, of course, right? And so I think it's natural that we would compare it to the Holocaust just because that was our historical trauma, and this is now perpetuated by our people. I think that's why that's why we make that link. And also to Emrose's point, I always saw industrialization in sort of the AI munition system. They created new technologies, just like the Nazis created the concentration camps and then the gas chambers in order to sort of take the fingerprints off the killing, because the Nazis were coming back with PTSD from shooting kids in the head while they're screaming. So they said, what can we do so they don't have to see the death, right? They could just push a button. And this is similar, this is even more hands-off when they're just using an AI-generated targets and drones, so there's literally no fingerprints and no one feels culpability for the mass deaths that are happening. To me, I see that sort of invention of new AI technologies and machines to do the killing is another form of industrialization, an industrialized killing that detaches the killer from the
It seems that, making we see atrocities and comparing them to the Holocaust doesn't seem to be problematic. The problem, I think, that becomes really insensitive is when we say a Holocaust, this is a Holocaust, rather than comparing it to the Holocaust. That's where I think there's a level of insensitivity that is happening unawaredly. Am I saying that word correctly? And I'm now aware of it. This was very educational for me to note the difference, right? There is a true difference by saying, insert whatever atrocity is a Holocaust. You're really kind of negating the actual Holocaust by dropping the Holocaust, saying this is like the Holocaust in these ways, but instead you're saying a Holocaust, which is really in a kind of way making what should be the title of an event minimizing it. Like it brings it down.
It makes it not singular. It's a singular event, and now you're making it like just it dilutes it.
Totally makes sense.
Yeah,
So,
but let me ask you,
Wait, I want to hear from Igor. Yeah, go ahead.
so would you like say that all slavery is the same, right? That is the distinction that I'm making, right? So that's a question for you. Would you say that every slavery, even they have
I made that point earlier, Igor.
No, I understand, but
okay.
if we're making the point that we can call everything Holocaust, that I disagree, then could we call all slavery, Arab slavery, slavery in Ottoman Empire, Roman Empire slavery, chattel slavery, is they all the same or not? Or we can make distinctions? Yeah. That is my angle. I'm coming from my perspective.
Of course, we should make distinctions. No two slaveries are the same, but that doesn't mean we can't talk generally, broadly about slavery and try to prevent, because we must talk broadly about it as a theme and understand the common threads, right? In order to oppose it.
Like there's a difference between saying I was at work or I was in this event and they treated me like a slave, right? That could be so offensive. But if we're saying like in the slave trade, when they did ... they're doing ... there's a less, we can distinct the
okay, so we're talking about, let's say human trafficking. Let's say Jeffrey Epstein.
Right.
When you compare that to slavery, because he's trafficking.
So if you say, the people that were human trafficked were the slaves in America, right? That could probably be offensive. But if you say something like, for example, this isn't the way it was, but it's a quick example. People were bought and sold, they were in the slave trade. They were bought and sold also. To make it distinct comparison is one thing, but to do you understand what I'm saying? If you're
you want to be as specific as possible about the criteria, so you're not lumping in or generalizing about the experiences.
Yeah, for example, I use a comparison often, right, to show that brutalized people do brutal things. And I talk about how the abolitionists were asked, do you condone the slave rebellion? The slaves turn on their slave masters and killed a whole bunch of people. Do you condone that? They're like, no. We don't condone that, but we told you this would happen. We told you.
We told you this would happen.